5 things that I want to unpack for you in the next few minutes about the energies that I am sensing we will be collectively experiencing in this next week. Number 1, it is the beginning of the beginning. Number 2, explosion of emotion. Number 3, we're not going anywhere. Number 4, hugs are where it's at. And number 5, glory. Hi, my name is Lisa of EnergieGal Holistic Wellness. I'm an intuitive healer and spiritual guide, and I am passionate about creating a space for us of curiosity, compassion, and courage so that we can be on our spiritual journey, that adventure of discovering, remembering, and being who we are. I'm so thankful to so many of you who've reached out and said to me, hey, I really like this community that you're creating. I feel so safe here. And that is so important to me, especially with some of the things that we're going to be talking about today. So let me take just a few minutes to suss out these 5 points. Let's go for it. It's the beginning of the beginning. And here is what I'm sensing. It's the beginning of freedom. And coming out of the matrix, coming out of understanding that there have been paradigms and programmed mindsets that have been playing in our subconscious that we weren't aware of, that there are those powers that be that don't necessarily always have our best interest at heart. That the bottom line is, if it makes money, it's a good thing. There is greed. There are traditions, man-made and otherwise, that we are coming out of because we understand it's yesterday's news. And speaking of news, we also know that not all the news is accurately reported, or it's news with a slant. These are all the ways that we are coming out of the matrix. And that's part 1. But there's a part 2. Part 2 is, and this is the toughest part, coming out of the matrix, that part is easy breezy, lemon squeezy. Part 2 is, now that you have come out, it's time to go in. Now that you've come out of the matrix, it's time to go into the portal of the heart and down into the depths and beyond your spiritual journey, that journey of awakening and remembering, discovering, being who you really are at your core, which is God's spark, which is source. So part 1 is, come on out of the matrix, but you have just arrived at the beginning of the next part of your journey, which is going in. And I'm going to tell you, the reason that I am so passionate about creating for us a safe space is because going in, it can be scary. It can be a scary thing to come face to face with yourself, understanding that you are the one who holds yourself back. And it's time to re-narrate the stories that you have been believing. It's time to surrender some of the attachments that you have identified yourself with. And you can't do that on your own. Okay? So you're at the beginning of freedom, coming out of the matrix and all of that programming and mindset that's running subconsciously. We don't even know all these things are running in the background, but only to take the next part of the journey, which is going in. Okay. Number 2, explosion of emotion. I want to tell you, well, should I tell you that? Yeah. There was a time when a couple of years ago, I was shoveling the driveway, and we have a long ass driveway, and the snow thrower wasn't working. And it was the second time that day we had to shovel because there was so much freaking snow falling that day. So needless to say, I was pretty tired going out to shovel and didn't want to. Had already had my fill of Western New York weather, and it was time to shovel more. And as I'm shoveling, all of a sudden, I feel this explosion of emotion, and my whole body starts to vibrate, and out comes screams of fury. I was surprised myself, but it was like I could feel it coming up and it would not stop. I just was furious. And there was a particular situation in my life that had happened that I forgave. Oh, I forgive. But I'll tell you, underneath that forgiveness, finally what bubbled up was fucking anger. It shocked me. I was so surprised. My husband was so taken aback because it is the last thing he expected of me. And there was a little bit of shame and guilt that he put upon me, saying, well, I expected more of you than that. And I was like, well, sorry to disappoint you, but this is who I am. In that space of needing to feel my feelings, which I didn't even know were there. But this physical activity and this frustration, it all bubbled to the surface. And boy, out came some fury that I had. It's something that was done against me. I can tell you that I was exhausted. I slept for like 3 days after that and just sat by the big window where we have our tree, one of our biggest trees. I just felt like it was grounding me. The good news is, once I had integrated the fact that all that anger had come up, that frustration, that it was a deep abhorrence, hate. I was so angry. Once that came up and out and it no longer existed in my countenance, in my energetic field, and I recalibrated and integrated that and felt like this, like I felt so empty inside in a good way. Like it was gone. No remnants. All of a sudden, I had so much love and understanding and compassion for the people who had done what they did to me. And it wasn't trumped up. I wasn't trying, I forgive you. Let me love you with unconditional love. It wasn't that. It was genuine, understanding, compassion, gentle, heartfelt, deep relating to these people and hoping the best for them. That existed underneath the anger. So here's the second point that I'm trying to make. We may come into a season where there's an explosion of emotion. And I don't want you to shame, guilt, or be afraid of that. Let it happen constructively. Don't go hurting somebody or yourself. But let it erupt and come out. It has to. So that you can integrate into the new and settle into that place that's always been in there but was not tapped in and turned on. Unconditional love. It'll be life trajectory changing. So I sense what's going to be happening is there are going to be these explosions of emotion. So please do them safely. I find that working out helps move those energies. And then when those energies have moved and you're exhausted, take an Epsom salt bath, do the best that you can to rest. Not necessarily mean sleep, but rest your physical body and be in nature as much as possible and listen to like theta wave music. Okay. Number 3, we're not going anywhere. So many times I've heard people saying, oh, we're going into the 5th dimension. I do not believe that's the case, my friends. Oh, dear community, I think what's happening is there's such an emphasis in my life on the physical body, and here's why. For the first time ever, we are integrating fifth dimension, unconditional love, source energies into the physical form. And it's a really big deal. We are allowing this Christ consciousness, this frequency, to come into a physical form that has slowed down and is encapsulated. And we've never done this before. And that is why, number 2, you might sense that some anger is coming up, because it needs to move so that that fifth dimensional love can be realized, can be allowed to come on out and play. It's who you really are. It's just that you're not tapped into it because you're tapped into the anger that you don't maybe even know is there. I don't know I'm explaining that quite as well as I'd like to, but hear me through your heart space, okay? We're not going anywhere. We have already arrived. There's nowhere to go. What we're doing is we are allowing that consciousness of pure unconditional love, that frequency, to come into and be a part of and integrated into our physical form. And that's just a really big freaking deal. I just feel like everywhere is leaning in and over to see us do this. I think that they're like, damn, did you see what they're doing on Earth? Number 4. I was thinking about this morning. I always end my blogs and my videos with, and here's a hug. And I feel like it's the God in me saying that to all of us, and here's a hug. And what I was brought to mind this morning is there's this young man in my life who is an amazing soul. And I said to him during a prophetic counseling session I had with him one time back a few years ago, just your hugs will heal people. They do not need to talk. They don't even need to be thinking, oh, I'm here for a healing. Just your hugs will heal them, I said to him. Just your arm around their shoulder will heal them. And I was stunned that that came out. But I recently saw him and I said, just so that you're aware, that word stands. Just your hugs will heal people of deep things. They will not have to go through all the talk therapy. And what hurt on the way in will not have to hurt on the way out, just because of your hugs. And so as I was remembering that talk that I had with this young man, and as I was realizing, I always end with, here's a hug. I said to the God in me, okay, unpack that a little bit more for me. I want to know, why are hugs so important? And it has to do with the frequency of our body, which I was talking about with number 2, explosion of emotion, letting those things pass through. Number 3, we're not going anywhere. We are recalibrating our bodies to be able to encapsulate and hold and incarnate love. So hugs will be healing because our physical bodies are going to be holding a higher frequency. Our physical bodies will be holding a higher frequency so that when we are out with other people and we hug them and we hug and we hold on, not a little, but I mean a hug where you put your arms around each other and you hold on, the kind of hug my third son gives me. It's like eternity. We're there for a minute, full minute holding, to the point where when we're done, we're both like trembling a little because we could feel our frequencies integrating and gathering together. And it's supernatural, man. It's mystical and freaking awesome. But that kind of hug, when we offer an unconditional, when we offer a hug, when we are calibrated at that incarnated frequency of love, and we're hugging someone who's in a place of pain and ache, it will recalibrate them, because the higher frequency always pulls the lower frequency up. So you know, that higher frequency pulls the lower frequency up to match it. So our hugs are going to be healing medicine. Huge, big deal. And number 5, I just keep coming back to this word glory. And I don't really have anything much more to tell you other than I just keep hearing the word glory. I know that it means beauty, like great beauty and magnificence. And what I keep on hearing the God in me saying is, there are so many of you who are going to, or so many of us, that are going to be awakening to actually seeing our glory. We are going to be coming face to face with our own glory. We're going to see it when we look in the mirror at ourselves. We're going to see it when we look at our children's faces. We're going to see it when we look at the cashier at Walmart. We're going to see it on the faces of the people in prison. We are going to be able to see the glory that is the true identity, the magnificence and the great beauty of each and every person. That is really just us in reflection, because there is no other. We are coming into that season. Lots. And I forgot my water, and I'm thirsty. Okay, so with me, 3 deep breaths, and then promise me that you will go and you will drink some quality water, because what we have done is offered each other a download of information. Okay, this isn't just talking here. Like I've said to you before, these are downloads of information that are getting downloaded into you to be integrated into your system to recalibrate you. Thereby recalibrating me, because there is no other. So deep breath in. What an adventure that we have decided to partake in. Thank you, community. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your time and your energies, your interest, your passion, and your love. Thank you for your curiosity and your courage to go where we have not yet gone before. It's kind of exciting. If I can be of assistance to you, check the links below. I love to help people through their spiritual awakening. It jazzes me, and it helps me on my journey as well. In the meantime, what I have ready for us this next week is Tuesdays is a guided meditation. Please listen to the guided meditations. Get your earbuds in and set aside, it's less than a half an hour, and they are so good. They help you recalibrate. So that's Tuesdays. Wednesdays is a, what is Wednesday? Wednesday is a mind-body journey, where I unpack a little bit of something. Thursdays is our sound bowl meditation, another frequency healing. And Fridays is our podcast, where I interview someone who I think is pretty freaking awesome and cool, and I'd love to introduce them to our community. And I like who we're introducing this week, so I'm so thankful for you, and I hope that you have a wonderful week. And please check in. Let me know what landed for you. And as the week goes on, come on back. Let us know what of these 5 things did you experience? Let's create this community. And just so that you're aware, it does help the algorithm if you like this video, if you subscribe and hit the notification bell, and if you comment. We little channels, it helps the algorithm. It helps us get our information out there if you interact with the channel. So in the meantime, I love you so much, bigly. And here's a